Just when I thought there might be a limit to human stupidity, I stumble across a video like this. What exactly has commentary become these days? It almost seems like we don't critically discuss ideas anymore. Everything is about insulting each other or making fun of other people. And I get it, people do that all the time for the sake of entertainment. But being childish when discussing critical, political, and scientific issues is not going to help in the long run. So I came across this channel called Conservative Twins. Honestly, I've never heard of them before until now, which I suppose is a good thing, otherwise I'd have negative brain cells by now. And these two guys are the biggest man children I've ever seen in my life. I'm going to be bleeping out a bunch of their language. They're big enough to survive on things like merch and donors probably, but I'm still dependent on ad revenue, so I'm not taking any risks when it comes to this childish language they use. Of course, feel free to navigate to the original video if you want to watch them throw out as many swear words as possible in a failed attempt at comedy.
Hey, we're gonna talk about Whoopi. Man, Whoopi Goldberg.
I just don't understand how these women on The View are still on TV.
Yeah,
you know what that tells you? That tells you there's some dumb out there watching this show faithfully.
Hey man, let's don't call women even though they some stupid. Let's go away from
Just casually throw in a sexist comment that generalizes half the people on Earth, laugh about it, and write it off as comedy. Ha ha ha, I'm laughing so hard right now. This goes on for quite a while, so I'm going to cut it out since it provides no intellectual value whatsoever. I don't recommend watching the original video unless you enjoy two grown men being sexist and racist.
I'm gonna show you the first video.
this is crazy. You put on your thinking caps.
Because you're going to lose some IQ points listening to this.
Pretty sure I've lost enough of those already, starting just over a minute ago.
Do any of you men
That's an ugly sweater.
have any eggs or the possibility of carrying a fetus? How dare you talk about what a fetus wants? You have no idea. Now, I'm fine if you disagree with abortion. I have no problem with that. My problem comes when you tell me what I need to do with my doctor and my family. How dare you? How dare you?
Hey, just because you got eggs, you better than me? Them eggs ain't no good without no semen. That's like eggs without the bacon. That's like peanut butter, no jelly. That's like a cell phone with no service.
Okay, so you'll kind of see this as a recurring theme in the video where these two guys laugh while saying, "You're not better than me just because you have eggs." And the thing is, I agree, women are not inherently better than men, just like how men are not inherently better than women. But at the same time, that's not the main point of her argument. She is not saying anything regarding the status of men and women or if men can have opinions on abortions, but rather implying that as a man, you can't always relate to the burden of carrying a child. I know there are a lot of pro-choice people out there that say men shouldn't have opinions on this. I don't actually agree with that myself, but just because you can have an opinion doesn't mean you can relate to women to the same degree when it comes to bearing children. Anyway, I can see how this can be misinterpreted, but the main part of her argument is the important one. Instead of just focusing on the you men part, which I agree can be somewhat silly if interpreted in a more extreme way, we should be focusing on the main point, that you can have whatever opinion you want about abortions, but you should only be applying your own values to yourself. When you go around telling other people how to live their lives and how they should handle their own family situations, that's when it becomes a problem. Of course, this is not a universal rule, but I do think it applies to a lot of situations in which conservatives try to mingle with other people's lives. Things like abortion or LGBT rights, things of which have absolutely no effect on their own lives, but they want to tell you what you can or cannot do anyway. Back to the topic, these two guys have completely misunderstood the argument, which will become a common theme for the rest of the video.
Oh man, she ain't making no sense, man. So I get upset at these women, start calling don't mean nothing by it.
Hey, but look.
But what happened to equality?
Yeah, men and women are created equal.
Yeah.
Because you're a woman, you better than me?
I see you've now decided to take what she said, twist it to the extreme so that it's just a straw man now, and make her look like the bad guy. No one said anything about women being better than men.
Like, just because I don't have eggs, I don't know what a fetus wants. Yeah. I'm pretty sure the fetus does not want to be
terminated.
Yeah.
Do you know what the fetus wants? Do you talk to the baby?
The point is that no one knows what the fetus wants. No one, not you, not me, not even the fetus itself, knows what the fetus wants. The stance that pro-life people take is that they argue from the position of the baby. The quote, "killing a baby is wrong," ultimately stems from the shoes of the baby, as if people know exactly what it wants. The thing is, a group of cells is a group of cells, and you can't argue on their behalf if you don't know what it prefers. Sure, once a baby is born, it instinctively wants to live, but that doesn't mean that aborting it isn't the better choice, since many unwanted children born into families that aren't ready to take care of them will often suffer lower qualities of life at critical physical physical and intellectual growth periods of their lives. Even a fetus itself doesn't know what it wants because it's incapable of grasping any concept of lifestyle or quality of life that it's going to be born into. That being said, it's up to the people who are currently alive to make this decision for them, and the people that know best on their current situation to make that decision are the parents themselves. It's the fact that no one knows exactly what the fetus wants, not even the fetus itself, that makes it so important for people to have a choice on abortion. You as an outsider cannot decide for other people what is best for them and their babies.
You're not better than me because you got the eggs. Yeah.
Again, missing the point, but regarding this issue, pregnancy and abortion will inevitably affect women more than men. Sure, you can't have a baby without a male and female, but that doesn't mean the burden is equally shared. Pregnancy has a huge toll on the female body. Before we had medicine, a huge proportion of women died just from childbirth alone due to the high rate of complications. It's actually crazy how a process so essential for a species' survival is so dangerous. Men, on the other hand, don't really have to sacrifice much compared to women, which is why there's a narrative that men shouldn't have opinions on the topic of abortion. While I disagree with that, it is at least important to acknowledge that laws like abortion bans will disproportionately affect women a lot more than men.
Yeah, besides you talking like, didn't you know, you on the left, you're a communist, you should know this. You know women can have now.
Yeah. You. Not about you being a woman. It's about everybody sitting down and doing what's right for society.
Ignoring the fact that your comment has nothing to do with her argument, I agree that it's about what's right for society. And what's right for society is to legalize abortion and increase reproductive education and access to contraceptives.
Yeah, but she says all this. Watch how the roles reverse.
Yeah.
When she's talking about vaccines. Check this out.
I get agitated because there are 7-year-olds who can't get the vaccine.
Yes.
There are people who cannot get the vaccine, and y'all are fooling around. Well, you know, it's my rights. But okay. But I don't care when it comes to killing little kids.
What?
And if you're under 7, I have to
10,
take you under 10,
12,
under
yeah.
12 now. So
12, right.
I have to hope that whoever you come into contact with doesn't kill you because they're busy protecting themselves. Now look, you know, if you really feel like that, then don't put a seatbelt on your kid.
What?
Then don't ask for things that you think are going to make you feel better, because this is the most basic thing in the world. We are our family's keepers. And if you can't see that, just as a Christian,
As a
Christian,
Christian.
as a Catholic, as a Jew, as a name another religion, Zoroastrian, Muslim. If you can't see that we are trying to protect each other, this is not going to end. We're going to keep doing this and doing this and doing this. So you got to make a decision. You know, if you can't get it, I understand. But if you're fooling around because you're not sure, I have no sympathy for you because you're endangering too many other people.
What? I don't understand what the hell she talking about.
Yes, considering your IQ, you probably can't even understand your own native language correctly. It's so true that people in the US speak 0.7 or 0.8 languages. Okay, obviously I know that was a joke. I just wanted to insert my own comments here about the vaccine. And the argument makes a lot of sense. For the average person, taking the vaccine comes with no risk, but the benefits are immeasurable. There are people out there who physically cannot get the vaccine either because they have suffered from an allergic reaction before or they are too young to get it. These people rely on herd immunity to stay safe, and herd immunity can only be achieved if people who are able to get the vaccine get the vaccine. And when people are talking about my rights, yeah, as if you have rights to not get a vaccine shot, these people are putting the lives of others at risk. Of course, that doesn't mean vaccines can be the sole factor that ends a pandemic, but is one incredibly crucial step based off everything we know in science. So the people who are either too lazy, hesitant, or speak out against vaccinations are directly harming our society and indirectly killing others.
Yeah, okay, so she said, okay, first, let's tackle the first thing she said about kids. Because she won't say everybody get vaccinated because you're harming kids.
What?
But you all for, like, killing the kid in the stomach.
You harming kids?
No, it is not the same thing. Children who are currently alive, out of the womb, and growing up to become adults are different than a couple of cells in a woman's body, the latter of which has no sentience, consciousness, or awareness. Now, we can argue all we want on when these cells become an actual human being, but there definitely is not a definite line here. But what we can certainly agree on is that kids living on Earth today are different than a fetus. You most definitely cannot treat them as the same thing.
How many kids have actually died from COVID?
Yeah, how many, Whoopi? How many?
Out of the millions people have died from COVID,
Yeah,
I think it's less than 1,000 worldwide.
yeah.
Yeah, apparently the United States is the only country in the world. COVID-19 doesn't only have to kill you to harm you. It can damage children in a variety of different ways, ranging from the deaths of their parents, family members, getting sick and missing school, spreading it to others, etc., etc. I hate it when people think that deaths are the only things that matter. You know, instead of having children get sick, even if they don't die, isn't it a much lower cost for people to just get vaccinated? How is this even a good excuse? Oh, I don't need to get my vaccine because the death rate is low. Vaccines literally come with little to no cost to the person receiving it, and it can do so much in protecting your friends and family, as well as other people who cannot get vaccinated. And then these conservative twins are basically implying that one is worse than the other if you look at death count alone. Oh, abortions are worse because they kill more than COVID. This isn't a comparison, nor are the two situations similar in any way, shape, or form. Women are getting abortions because they are not mentally or financially stable enough to raise a child. Meanwhile, COVID is killing people because some idiot you bumped into in a busy subway decided he didn't want to get a small jab in his arm. See the difference?
How you go from you want to do with your body what you want to do because you're a woman, you got them eggs of yours.
Yeah, and you can get
But
killed.
I can't do what I want to do with my body when it comes to a vaccine?
Unfortunately, how this works is that a vaccine is no longer just concerning the health of your own body. Rather, vaccines affect everyone you come into contact with. Meanwhile, abortions affect the woman having it, her partner, and her family. It's restricted to just your own household, while vaccines affect literally everyone. That's why we don't say as much when people are obese. If you're obese, that's unhealthy and you should try to do something about it. But at the same time, you're only harming yourself. That's not the case for vaccinations. It's not just your own body.
Yeah, it gets you're a hypocrite.
Okay, but by your own logic, you're also a hypocrite for saying you have bodily rights to getting a vaccine or not, and then you go and judge other people for their bodies when it comes to abortions. Ridiculous.
And I want to say this, and and your whole argument is a moot point because
Yeah.
even if you're vaccinated, I don't know how many times I gotta say this. Even if you're vaccinated, if you get in contact with COVID, you're gonna get COVID.
Yeah.
And you can still spread COVID.
Yeah.
You can still die from COVID.
Yeah, so-
you're no better than somebody who's unvaxxed.
If you don't believe me, ask LeBron James.
It's crazy how scientifically illiterate some people can be. Yes, you can still have breakthrough infections, but that doesn't mean you're not reducing your chances of getting COVID. Vaccines is not a black and white situation where once you get the shot, you're 100% immune from COVID, but it increases your immunity so that your chances of catching and spreading it are significantly reduced. And even if it's not perfect, if enough people get vaccinated, eventually the virus will disappear due to its difficulty in transmission. It's crazy to me how people can see the vaccine as useless just because it doesn't just quite reach a 100% efficacy rate.
Yeah, it's like your whole argument is like, you dumb
Like,
BBB.
hey, like, what are you talking about? Don't put a seatbelt on your kid. Seatbelts work.
Seatbelts reduce the risk of death by about 45% and decreases risk of serious injury by 50%. That is actually statistically less effective than vaccines if you look at the chances of hospitalizations. Now, of course, we don't have concrete data for the Omicron variant just yet, at least not during the time of this recording, but hospitalization rates, not even the risk of death, which would be even higher, was well above 90% for our major vaccines against Delta. Not only are you statistically more likely to get COVID compared to a car accident, vaccines are also more effective at preventing hospitalizations compared to seatbelts preventing death. So if you think seatbelts work, then you should also believe that vaccines work.
I mean, they're not perfect. People, sometimes, if you don't put the seatbelt on properly, you hang yourself and you get in an accident. But seatbelts are way more effective,
And a lot
to my
safer.
knowledge, than that supposedly that vaccine that protects you.
It's actually crazy how two idiots, not one, with double the amount of time, can't even research hospitalization rates before coming on camera to spew such nonsense.
Yeah, people have died from the vaccine. I mean, I don't know if you realize that or not.
Very, very rare complications can arise, but they are so incredibly rare and usually would involve the patient having a pre-existing condition already that it's basically not even relevant. I don't know if you know basic statistics, I don't think you really do, but 1 in 7 million seems like a lot less than 20%, which is the percentage of people who have caught COVID in America so far. And even if you do have an allergic reaction or blood clot, you're probably not going to die anyway due to the requirement to stay in the vaccination site for 15 minutes for monitoring purposes.
Just like you got two different personalities.
Schizophrenic?
Yeah, you schizo. You schizo. You say this and then
Two grown men can't even get their insults right. That wouldn't be schizophrenia, that would be bipolar disorder or dissociative identity disorder. And the guy on the left didn't even know how to say schizophrenic even after his brother literally just said it seconds ago. I can kind of tell the guy on the right probably has like 10 IQ more than his brother on the left. That being said, I don't think their video has a combined IQ of more than double digits. This is why you stay in school, kids.